Today, we're diving into a really fascinating case study. It's about how one family literally engineered a system to completely flip their response to a major crisis, going from the edge of panic to a state of proactive, resilient control.
So let's just start with a really direct question for you. When things truly go sideways, a big power outage, a natural disaster, any major disruption, what's the default mode for your family? Is it kind of chaotic anxiety, or is it coordinated action? The answer to that question, well, it reveals a whole lot about our readiness.
The way the source material frames this is as two completely different states of being. On one side, you have reactive panic. That's that awful feeling of being a victim, just completely overwhelmed by circumstances. And on the other side, proactive hardiness. That's a state of empowerment, where you see these huge challenges as manageable and actually believe you can influence the outcome.
Okay, so let's explore that gap a little bit. Why are so many of us, even though we live in more comfort than ever before, so fundamentally unprepared for serious adversity? Well, the central idea here is a bit of a paradox, right? All our incredible modern conveniences, our safety nets, they've shielded us from the kind of hardships that, historically, are what forged resilience in people. This has created what the study calls a resilience deficit, and it leaves us psychologically vulnerable the moment those support systems get shaky.
But here is the really good news. The solution isn't to get rid of comfort, it's to deliberately build a specific kind of psychological toolkit. And this study has a name for it, the hardiness mindset.
And listen, this is the most crucial point. Hardiness is not some heroic trait you're just born with. No way. It's a set of attitudes and skills that you can systematically learn and practice. It's all about reframing stress, not as this terrifying threat, but as a solvable challenge.
So how do you train it? Well, it all boils down to what they call the 4 C's. First up is commitment. That means fully engaging with the problem instead of just checking out. Second, you have control. This is the core belief that your actions can actually influence the outcome. Third is challenge, seeing a crisis not as a dead end but as a chance to learn and adapt. And finally, countermeasure. This is where you move from just a defensive crouch to proactively neutralizing threats.
Okay, so theory is great, but how does this stuff actually work in the real world? Let's get into the practical tools that the family in this case study used to turn these big ideas into a concrete, usable action plan.
So, the very first thing they did was to stop worrying and start calculating. They used this classic risk management formula. You just assign a number to both the probability and the severity of a threat, and suddenly you transform these abstract fears into a prioritized list of manageable problems. This is an absolute game changer for getting back a sense of control. And this right here, this table brilliantly illustrates what that looks like. This isn't just a to-do list, it's a full-on system. Notice how each quantified risk has a specific mitigation strategy and, this is crucial, an owner. Assigning roles builds that commitment C we were just talking about. Suddenly, everyone knows their job, and it transforms them from passive worriers into active team members. Now, to handle decision-making under intense pressure, the family adopted a tool straight from military fighter pilot strategy, the OODA loop. It's a super rapid, 4-step cycle. You observe what's actually happening. You orient yourself based on your pre-made plan. You decide which specific protocol to activate, and then you act, decisively, no delay. This whole structure is designed to break that cycle of panic and make sure you take clear, coordinated action when it matters most. But the family didn't stop there. They actually developed their own set of formulas to manage both their physical resources and their mindset with mathematical precision. Take this one, for example, the availability formula. I know, it looks a little technical, but it's incredibly powerful. It answers that one nagging question: how long will our supplies actually last? So instead of just guessing, you calculate it. This simple equation turns that vague anxiety about running out of something into a hard, solid number. For example, the family calculated that their 140 liters of water for 7 people would last exactly 10 days. Now that number isn't scary, it's motivating. It drives specific action. It tells them precisely what their gap is and exactly what they need to do to close it. It's proof that data defeats dread. And for managing their mental resources, they use this really simple rule to prevent getting overwhelmed. In a crisis, your brain can just freeze trying to solve every problem at once. The 3x3x3 rule forces you to focus. Am I solving a 3-minute problem, like stopping a bleed? A 3-hour problem, like securing the house? Or a 3-day problem, like figuring out food? It's like a mental filter that keeps you focused on what matters right now. All right, let's move to the final section, because this one gets to the very heart of this entire project. You see, all the plans and all the formulas, they're just tools. The ultimate goal is something much, much deeper. This brings us to this incredible concept called semantic sovereignty. To put it simply, it's the idea that your most powerful survival tool isn't a thing at all. It's your family's shared story. It's the ability to look at a totally chaotic situation and say, this is what this means for us, and this is how we are going to respond. It's about writing your own narrative of purpose instead of just absorbing the narratives of panic that are swirling all around you. And this quote from the study's author, man, it just captures it perfectly. This is the end goal of hardiness. It's this profound sense of clarity and conviction, even when you're in the middle of a crisis. This shared purpose is what holds everything and everyone together.
So, we'll end right where we began, with a question for you. The tools and the frameworks in this explainer show that resilience is a choice, not a matter of chance. It's a story you write together, one drill, one plan, and one conversation at a time. The only question is, what story will yours be?